Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand vlog. This one, big number 248. So before we get started, I would officially like to welcome you and dropping me one of these. Say thank you for hanging with us. Even though I don't get a ton of views on these videos, I love doing them because it is all about helping you in terms of your entrepreneurial journey. You know, the reason why we started these vlogs was pretty simple, to let you see sort of behind the curtain and come along with us for the journey of starting the business Tiege Hanley and building the brand. And it's been amazing. And for 248 straight weeks, we have done it. When I first started thinking about this vlog, I was like, yo, I'll probably do it until we launch, and then that's it. I'm killing it. But it obviously has turned into something that we at Tiege Hanley are super proud of, and myself included. And so if you wouldn't mind just to say, yo, Alpha, thanks for putting these together and spending like 25 minutes with us, or 20, depending on what we're talking about, I would appreciate it. Anyway, something else that Josh would appreciate, there is another link down below. As you know, Tiege Hanley has been putting out and cranking out weekly incredible content that can only be found on the Tiege Hanley YouTube channel. This week is all about developing an amazing shower routine. So if you guys are interested in saving time, getting ready a little more productively, gentlemen, you definitely need to check out and watch that video. All right, so now we got to talk about what I want to talk about, which is helping you start a business for a relatively little bit of money. As we talked about in last week's vlog, the company Cremo sold for like $235 million recently, and last vlog was really solid. So if you guys missed it and want to watch it again, there you can. It'll be linked somewhere. Anyway, we talked all about what it looks like when a company, a big company, sells for $235 million, and it was exciting. It was exciting for Tiege Hanley. It's exciting just the fact that this industry, the grooming industry and space, is a valuable and a growing space to be in business. But this got me thinking, because I saw one of the questions about starting a business, right? And that kind of is what we're here to talk about, is you starting a business and building your own successful brand and eventually having the option to sell it for $235 million, right? That's the American dream. Or that's not just the American dream, that's the dream everywhere, right? If that's your thing. And if you're an entrepreneur, that is definitely your thing, but you got to start, right? And one of the hardest things is figuring out what business to start and how you're going to start it if you don't have a lot of cash. Well, I've mentioned before that Pete and Pedro, when I started that company, it was for $3,000. Now, there was a comment in the last vlog, how did you start that business for $3,000? So today I wanted to just kind of like break it down and tell you how I spent that money. But then I also want to talk about how you can start a business and some ideas for starting a business for $1,000, right? $1,000. That is an amount of money that most people, if they start saving, if they start like pinching their pennies, get a second job, you could probably raise $1,000 over the course of a year. And we'll say a year, right? And so that is a very, in terms of starting a business, in terms of amount of capital, that is a very low entry point, right? You don't need a ton of cash. And so we want to talk a little bit about how you could do that and give you some ideas on how you could actually start a business for around $1,000. I was on this really great website, which I will actually link to down below, that went over like 80 different business ideas for you guys out there that want to start a business for under $1,000. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but first, let's talk about how I spent $3,000 to start Pete and Pedro. All right, so when I decided to start Pete and Pedro, the way that it all came about, I went to my buddy Steven, right? Steven, the dude who cuts my hair, and I said, yo, I want to start a hair product business. I'm not exactly happy with the current state of affairs in the hair product game. At that time, it was like American Crew. There were a few others, but I wasn't satisfied. And I thought I could do it better. And so I said, hey, do you have any contacts with any like labs or anybody who makes hair products? And he said, sure. And so he gave me a bunch of numbers. I did a little bit of research, found some others. And what I did is I contacted the private label sort of companies out there that sold like pre-manufactured products where you could actually, you know, tweak some things or keep the existing formula, just put your label on it and sell it as your brand. And this is, if you are looking to get into selling any type of product, whether or not it is skincare, whether or not it is hair care, whether or not it is deodorant, whether or not it is clothing, apparel, accessories, watches, whatever it is, there are companies out there that you can go and have this done. It's basically you finding what you want, modifying it if you want to or if you can, and then just putting your logo, your label, and everything on it, and then selling it as your own. And this is what the majority of people out there that are starting businesses, they're doing. They're going on sites like Alibaba and finding, you know, people that will actually manufacture, sunglasses or whatever it may be. And a lot of them are doing like the private label. Like you can go and find like wallets and like anything and everything you can think of in terms of selling a product. You can find a private label manufacturer. And the upside to starting a business that way is that the barrier to entry is much lower. Oftentimes you're going to have a minimum I can't talk, a minimum order, right? And why can't I talk? I get so excited talking about this kind of stuff. That's probably what it is. Or I need a little more. Minimum order quantity, MOQ. All right, you're going to have a minimum order quantity. And typically, a lot of private labels are going to have like some like lower entry. Now, if you're going to go like custom like Tiege Hanley does, you got to order a whole lot more, which is going to require a whole lot more money. And so with Pete and Pedro, what happened? I sourced basically like 3 different labs. I wanted to see what they offered, and I found a lab that I loved every single product. Actually, the 5 products that I wanted to start. And then I ordered, the minimum order quantity for this was 96 units of each. And so I ordered 96 units of, the putty, the cream, the clay, the pomade, and the paste. And that total order was around $2,000. And that was like my opening inventory. Now, when I first started, because the minimum order quantity was fairly low, I didn't really change or tweak anything. Now, as everything grows and as you get bigger, then you start ordering more, then you have the ability to tweak and change things. But just starting out to see if there's a market, it's a really good idea to sort of test things and see what happens, right? And so there it was, $2,000. I had my opening inventory, and then for another like $300, I ordered some like shipping materials. I also ordered a Dymo printing a Dymo like label printer thing that would actually print out. Actually, not when I started. When I started, I was taking the orders every day to the post office. I was standing in line, and at first it was like I'd have like 1 order, and then the next day it might be like 2 orders. And so eventually, I think I did that, like bringing packages, like boxes of boxes to the post office, standing in line. I think for like 8 months I did that, because the orders weren't that big, and I am very resistant and reluctant to try different things. And then a buddy of mine was like, yo, you just got to switch to this Dymo thing. They're like, you can get an account with stamps.com and do it that way. And so that's what ended up, sort of that was like the next step in the process. A Dymo label printer that prints off those big labels, I think is around like $200. And I would recommend you start with that as opposed to going to the post office and standing in line, because that was just, whatever. That's the kind of guy I am, apparently. But I got to be friends with all the postmasters, and it was very lovely. But then I was like, yo, seriously, I'm standing in line for like 50 minutes a day, like waiting to have the, not the best use of time. Anyway, so I did that. And then in terms of a website, my assistant Debbie, that has been with me since the days of my fitness center, who continues to work for me, she is dangerous enough on the internet in terms of like building websites and stuff like that. When we shut down our fitness center, she had been like dabbling and playing around with like building herself like some websites. And so I went to Debbie, I said, yo, I don't have much money, but would you be willing to help me and build a website? And at that point, I think she built it. I don't know what she did or what she used. I think at that point we were using like PayPal for like the processing of the orders, and it was super cheap, right? Now, that is also not a great way to go now, all right? There are websites out there. The one that I'm thinking of specifically is Theme Forest, all right? Theme Forest is a website where you can buy templates for the different, platforms, whether or not it's Shopify or Squarespace or I don't know the other ones. WooCommerce, that's the other one, WooCommerce. You can find templates. You've got to decide on what platform you want, and I personally would recommend Shopify. Don't mess around with anything else. Shopify is like almost bulletproof. Now, it goes down once in a while in terms of you'll look at your little app and you'll be like, why the hell am I not getting any traffic? Like occasionally they have problems, but for the most part, Shopify is the way to go. The other beautiful thing with Shopify, when you sign up for like a basic account, it's super affordable. It's like $130 a month. And so there's a little bit more money. But yeah, and that was pretty much it. So I had Debbie build the website, and I started promoting it just here. And so literally for like $3,000, I started a business. And I've talked about this before. In year 1, like 12 full months of that business, I made $36,000. And that was like $36,000 of like amazingness, because I had no, like, this is my first real, like, actually that's not true. I was selling like accessories like beaded bracelets and some other things around that time as well. And that was not that sucked. And then I also sold like the Alpha M style system, but I didn't sell too many of those. Anyway, that is how I started that company for $3,000. Now, let's talk about you starting one for even less. There's a link down below to a website called Tough Nickel. When I decided I wanted to sort of talk about this, I was like, let me see what's out there. There are a ton of online resources to give you like ideas and insights in terms of how to start businesses or different options for businesses for, you know, relatively little amounts of money. And the one I searched for was $1,000. I'm like, okay, $1,000, what could I start? And there are 80 different businesses that this guy kind of goes over and talks about in terms of businesses that you can start for literally like under $1,000. Everything from, you know, selling books or items on Amazon, which there are a lot of people that are like teaching you how to do that, which we're not even starting with that. And some stupid ones like start a paper route, like not that it's stupid, but there are some lame ones. But there were some other ones that it like blew my mind that this was even an option, like being a financial advisor, right? Like I'm like, what? You can be a financial advisor and start that business for under $1,000, and it actually breaks down, you know, what the expenses are in terms of it costs this to take this test, it costs this for this, it costs it, and for under $1,000, you could be a financial advisor or planner. Now, do you have any experience? Who knows? But does it matter? I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of different really cool like ideas, and you know, the one thing, and certain ones are, like I said, like hard, like write software, like, okay, write software that people want, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know how to write software, but there are some ideas. The bottom line and takeaway is that there are options. You've got to start looking, but there are definitely, I saw some on here that I thought, man, that's a really great idea. If I was somebody who wanted to be an entrepreneur or start a side hustle, this is a great thing to do. Another idea is to go to Fiverr, right, the website Fiverr, and look to see what people are charging, what people are actually offering in terms of service. The other day, my dad called me. He was really frustrated. He's like, Aaron, I'm trying to, you know, get this book that he's written, like to be formatted for Kindle, and my dad is not tech savvy in the least, right? And he has rewritten and written this book like literally like 6 times. I said, Dad, why don't you go to Fiverr and see if there's anybody who can kind of do this and offer this as a service? He did, and guess what? He found somebody to do it for $50, but it only took this person like 10 minutes to reformat his thing, and they made $50. And so if you are motivated, if you're somebody who is interested in becoming an entrepreneur, there is zero excuses to why you can't. You know, like I said, Theme Forest is a great resource, and it's just fun to go and look. You can find the different websites. The themes are relatively inexpensive, and with little to little like tech savviness, you can figure out how to modify these templates. It's not complicated. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. The other really cool thing about the internet and the time in which we live, like if you've got a hobby, if you've got something that you like making, you know, you can sell it on websites like Etsy or eBay or whatever. Gary Vaynerchuk did this series, I don't know if he still does it, where he would go out just to show people like, look, you can make money flipping stuff, right? He would go out to like yard sales and find stuff that he knew had value. But now the trick with this is you've got to kind of understand what you're buying in order to be able to do this. But if you go to, actually, let me show you something. This is one of my prized possessions that I bought for $1 at a yard sale when I was in college in West Virginia. And what it is, it's actually an old like retro ashtray. I don't smoke, I never have. I've got asthma, but I saw this, and for whatever reason, I'm like, that was really cool. Now, the deal is, it was all rusty and nasty, but it was $1. I'm like, you know, I think that with a little steel wool, I could, you know, polish it up and maybe clean it up. And so I did, and it turned into this, right? And the really cool thing about this, ready? You ash in here, and then there's this little button, ready? Boop, see that? Boop, it spins it down, and the ash is collecting here. Anyway, so I bought it, and I fixed it up, and I just like retro stuff like this. Well, then, a few years later, I was in Atlanta. There's this part of Atlanta called Virginia Highlands. And Virginia Highlands used to have a bunch of like antique stores and like retro inspired stores where you could go in and find things. And this one I went into, and all of a sudden, what did I see? I saw this ashtray there, the price that they were charging, $380. You know how many times I was close to selling this because I was broke? Pretty close, but I ended up hanging on to that thing. But that is just an example of, if you know what you're looking for, and I didn't know what I was looking for, I just thought it was cool. You know, you can go to these yard sales or estate sales and resell things. And oftentimes when you go to these places, these sales, you're going to find some really good deals on some really, cool stuff that you can resell and flip it, as they say. And so, and you can do this on eBay, and that's a way that a lot of people have been making a lot of money, is they set up an eBay store, they buy stuff, and some people, well, like when like this whole like COVID thing started, right? People were going and like buying like hand sanitizer and paper towels and all the things, and then trying to gouge people and sell it like for a lot of money. But like you can sell like new stuff too. Like it's all about just getting creative. My wife tried to do this, but my wife is not an entrepreneur. Okay, so do you remember these things called quadcopters? So like probably like 8 years ago, it was a super popular gift. It was these little remote control like drones, like mini drones that had like 4 propellers and a little remote control. And she found out that she knew that they were really popular, and so she found them on like, I think it was like Alibaba or something, and ordered like 100 of them. And she's like, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to advertise. I think we still have like 80 quadcopters. Where there is a will, there is a business, gentlemen. You just got to be smart, and you've got to just kind of figure out and try different things. Some things you're going to try, it's not going to work out. Other things you're going to try, and you're going to see a glimpse of like success, and you keep following that. And if you continue to see success, oftentimes, you're going to sort of follow the money. And I guess that's kind of like the best tip. Try different things, see what's exciting, see what you want to do, and follow the money. And if it doesn't work out, no big deal. You didn't invest like hundreds of thousands of dollars. When we started Tiege Hanley, that was a different story. We invested or started that business there was a lot more money that was required to start that. It was like $150,000, right? $150,000 to start a business is a lot of money, but there are definitely ways to do it. But I would prefer you to sort of try different things before you like totally commit to something that you're not really 100% sure of. But anyway, guys, that link is going to be down below. $1,000 is an amount of money that I think most people could raise. You could borrow it. You could ask for a loan. You could probably stand out in front of like a movie theater with a cup and say, could you please help donate to my new small business that I'm trying to start? And you could probably make $1,000 within a few weeks. So there were a few business questions on the last vlog. There were also a bunch of questions talking about the fact that Brio bought Ollie. So a few vlogs ago, I talked about Ollie not being involved in that, and the fact that it did end up selling. Brio was the company that bought it. My buddy Terry, my partner in Menfluential Media, he had a really great relationship with Eric, the founder of Brio, over the years, that I've promoted Brio like a zillion times. And I guess the conversation just started. I mean, at that point, when they decided to try and sell it, I'd already been out of the business. I was not involved pretty much other than like shipping it. I was still fulfilling Ollie at my warehouse. And they ended up selling it. In terms of the details, yes, I know. Do I want to talk about it, or am I going to talk about it? The answer is no. But it was good. It was good that they ended up selling that business. I am still without an exit for any business, because that is what we talked about in the last vlog, talking about sort of the sexiness of starting a business and then having like an exit where somebody else buys it. But I do know that the process of Brio buying Ollie was very complex. There were a lot of legal like paperwork and things of that nature, but it was good. I think it was good for the 3 people that were still involved in it. For me, I didn't see a penny, but you know what? I decided to leave, and so I am happy for them. But yeah, so that's what happened. Brio bought Ollie. The one business question that I want to get to is from Anthony Morin. He says, can you explain how preferred stock and common stock work within our business realm? The answer is no, but I Googled it, and here's the key differences. All right, the main difference between preferred and common stock is that preferred stock gives you no voting rights to shareholders, while common stock does. Preferred shareholders has priority over a company's income, meaning they're paid dividends before common shareholders. Common stockholders are last in line when it comes to company assets, which means they will be paid out after creditors, bondholders, and preferred shareholders. Google is amazing. Gentlemen, that is where I am going to wrap this vlog up. If you have a business question down below, I need you to start it with business question and ask your question. Regardless of what it is, I will either know it, I will give you my opinion, even if I don't know it, or I will Google it. That's how I roll. Gentlemen, we roll at Tiege Hanley like this. We think you're amazing. We think you're incredible. We love you more than our double monk strap shoes. And if you have not checked out all the incredible, amazing Tiege Hanley updates and upgrades and new products, guys, you got to go hit Tiege.com. I was going to say, hit that link. Tiege.com. Log into your dashboard and check it out. While you're checking out, guys, you can add products now, which is super exciting. So if you're like, yo, I want a level 1, but I want to add like a lip balm, or I want to add a hand sanitizer, or the amazing hands, the newest edition, you can do that. Also, if you already are a subscriber, you can log into your dashboard and just add things to your next box. Gentlemen, it is amazing. Speaking of amazing, we think you are incredible.